Ooh, ooh, hey, ow, ah, ee. Oh, let the old fat man sit down. Hello, and welcome to another cordial episode of the Hellion Rebellion Rock and Roll Association, brought to you by Hollygeist. Welcome, associates. When you think of punk rock from the great nation of Canada, what is the first band you think of? It's DOA, right? It's got to be DOA. Um, However, I was late to this party when it comes to a band called the Vile Tones. I didn't discover the Vile Tones until I don't know, till 2003, 2004, somewhere around there. And they were a Toronto-based band. They were considered the grandfathers or the architects of Toronto punk rock. Um, and I'll be damned if that band isn't just as good as DOA, and in some instances better. Sadly, um, lead singer of the Vile Tones left us this week. He goes by the name of Stephen Leckie, and we're going to go ahead and give Stephen Leckie a moment of silence before we get to rocking our weekly jams. So let's do it. Okay, may Stephen Leckie of the Vile Tones uh, find that the tones in the afterlife are not so vile. Maybe they're soothing within the great wings of the cosmic bat. Okay, so tonight we're going all the way to Stockholm, Sweden, to talk about a death metal band called Opeth. I don't mind calling them a death metal band because in the very beginning that's really what they are. But Opeth is a band that since 1990, the year in which they were formed, has just steadily grown into this juggernaut of progressive metal. In fact, if you ask me, who are the top five most progressive metal bands in the history of heavy metal, Opeth is probably in the top five. However, in the very beginning, they're really more of a death metal band. I don't know a whole lot about them. I could have read the multiple pages of Wikipedia and given you that history, but go ahead, read it if you're interested. Again, they started in 1990. They're still around today. They're a band that they've crossed many genre lines. They're highly influenced by folk, European, especially Scandinavian folk music, classical music, a little bit of jazz, and you can hear all of that in their music. It's death metal that I've never really heard before. And I mean, kids who grew up on late '90s new metal, your kids who were into Corn and Deftones and Tool and that kind of music, they like Opeth. They love them. Um, People who are just into progressive rock They might not like heavy metal at all. People who like Rush, people who like Yes, people who like Genesis. It's not surprising that they know who Opeth is. I have no doubt that this band has helped influence many technical and somewhat progressive, extreme death metal, black metal bands that came after them. Um, I have no doubt they had an influence on Chuck Schuldiner and his band Death, which in his later years he was highly progressive and technical with his music. Um, or Opeth may have. I have no doubt that they influenced like atmospheric black metal. I'm not going to play you an Opeth song. I'm I'm going to play you a cover song that they do. That's on this Celtic Frost tribute CD called "In Memory of Celtic Frost." This is very early on in Opeth's career, so this is mostly death metal. But you will hear a lot of this music is piano driven. Um, there's all kinds of different effects. They've taken the raw quality of Celtic Frost and and just beefed it up with their brand of metal, I suppose. This comes out in '96, so Opeth's first record would come out in '95. So again, this is the very early Opeth, and so it's mostly death metal. So I'm just digressing and rambling on. So let's go ahead and check out Opeth doing Celtic Frost's version of Circle of the Tyrants, which I feel like is pretty relevant right now. All right. Circle of the Tyrants, originally done by Celtic Frost. This is Opeth's version, which I am this close to liking better than the original. I don't know if I do, but I am. Oh, it's right there. It's just as good, probably. All right, that's all I got for you tonight. Yeah, this is a great tribute record. It's called "In Memory of Celtic Frost" on Dwell Records. I mean, it has Emperor, Mayhem, Close Down, Slaughter, Enslaved. I mean, oh, this band here. This is some hard music to find, and in fact, this is the reason I even bought this thing. Is this band 13? That it is very hard to find this band stuff, and in fact, if you find it, pick it up because some of it's valuable. Anyway, I hope y'all liked it. I will see you next week, God willing. And remember, it is our job to break the circle of the tyrants. Peace.